And welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Backstage Pass. Of course, always highlighting the best and brightest artists out there in Music City and, of course, all over the world here. Brandon Morrell flying solo again this week. Of course, co-hosts are out doing their thing out there, and definitely looking forward to getting Jeff McMahon, of course, Kirsty Krause, and Karen Lee Batten and Nick Canizales here back on the show in the coming days and the coming weeks. A couple of more weeks before we kind of shut down for the holidays, and we'll come back, resume shows about January 5th or 6th, somewhere in there. And got a great January lineup already kind of put out there, and more announcements to come on that. As we're presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, and of course, Hank Jr. Productions and MitchMax.com. MitchMax, the official merchandise provider of the Backstage Pass. And I tell you what, Halfway to Hell is the new album out there across all the digital platforms, and he's a show regular. I always love when he comes back. His sincerity, his music, and of course, just God-gifting talent. He's had a career that spans many, many years out there in the music industry, and of course, other things. Jack Williams back here on the Backstage Pass. Jack, how are things, man?
Great. It's good to be back here. I love this show.
I appreciate you being a fan of what we do here, brother. Well, I tell you what, Halfway to Hell, let's get right into it. The project we were talking about last time, you guys were looking at the fall date release, and here we are, December, almost a few weeks, I guess, from the official start of winter. Tell me how excited you are to get this music out to the fans, and definitely just more of great things that are out there again for songs like Beat Me Again and One More Day, and just a lot of cool things that are coming up in your camp, and congratulations on this release.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. I think it's really going to kick out after the holidays are over, but we've got everything on the playing field. It's out there now. And I can't be more excited. We got a first video that's out there, but Beat Me Again, and then I'm getting ready to go to LA and do the second video, and that's the song that on the album is One More Day, and I've got Gary Rosington from Leonard Skinner playing guitar on that, and I've also on Already Dead, Better Off Dead. I've got Gary Rosington and Ricky Medlock from Leonard Skinner playing on it. Wow. So it's pretty exciting, and the big co-writers that I've got on it, and it's just going to be exciting to see where it lands. I'm hoping it does really well.
Well, of course, anybody that knows you knows your journey in music has spanned kind of quite a long time now. And of course, early age writing songs, and of course we've talked about this on the show a few times. I love that rock band you had in LA called Captain Beyond. Portland one you had called High Voltage. Yeah, I keep track of my notes, brother. I keep it all down there when I do things like this.
I was just thinking about that band the other day. High Voltage. I was a roadie for the High Voltage, and they were the biggest band on the West Coast at the time. And they were they were high voltage. They were something else. They showed me what rock stars were before I knew what rock stars were. Those guys were amazing.
I wanted to ask you too before we play our first song. You mentioned about the Marines, and of course, just thank you for your service and everything out there too. At the same time, I know that you ever consider kind of pursuing that musical career, I guess, prior to the stint in the Marines. Tell me about that a little bit.
I think what I did was I was in, I played music. From the time I was a kid, we had our little bands. I remember my first band. We played nothing but Beatles and Rolling Stones songs. I think the first song I ever sang in my whole life was "Last Time" by the Rolling Stones. This would be the last time. And then I just was always in little bands, and I started writing poetry. I don't think I started writing songs really until after I got out of service, but I wrote a lot of poetry and I played a lot of guitar, and it wasn't until after I got out of service and met some people that I figured out that I had to put them both together to make songs. But I was always into music, always.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, kind of around it too, and had a little bit of kind of, like you said, your toe in the water, a little bit of everything out there. I love the fact you always tell that story, because I always love hearing it. These legendary acts, these musical peers, if you will, Richie Havens and the Who, Uriah Heep. You've told this many, many times on the show here. It's just amazing how being around people like that can evolve songwriting and coming up with lyrics, and just watching what they do in their illustrious careers. I'm sure every day that goes by, you think back to those days, and you're like, man, that's the glory days of my career too, right?
Well, it is, but it's also like you say, that's where I learned a lot of stuff. I mean, I was just having a talk with somebody today about, they were asking me if I wanted to go out on a road and play some, and I said I did. I wanted to go out, and they said, well, what would you do? I said, well, I would do it solo. I would do it like Tom Waits did. I would do it like Richie Havens did and Bob Dylan did it. I like that kind of thing. I like to just play by myself, and you don't have to worry about, you can do what you want to do, and you can sing your songs on any given night. You can sing your songs whatever way you want to sing your songs, and be as sincere and do whatever you want to do. And I think that's I mean, I remember when I was really young, I opened up for I opened up for Ted Nugent one time.
Wow.
30,000 people. It was just me. And it was a pretty scary night.
I love that. Before we play this song, I'm going to ask you about this. You've recorded so many out there too at the same time, and actually, written so many too. I guess when people say, for me, it always starts, Jack, with the songwriters, people like yourself. And we had Frank Myers on this week, who's done a ton of stuff in the industry too. And Kent Blasey. I mean, I've had a bunch of just great Nashville songwriters. It's amazing when they come up with just this craft and this love for doing it and creating something out of nothing to bring lyrics alive and make somebody feel something. I was going to ask you of a song that is at the top of your list. What would you kind of consider the best performance of one of your songs, but by another artist? What would you consider that? Or who would perform one of your songs by another artist? The best performance.
Greg Allman, Just Before the Bullets Fly.
Okay. And that was pretty near and dear to your heart too, which was really good out there too, no doubt. I love the fact that you've done so much in your career. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and play one now, because you've got a lot of cool things out there right now. Of course, Beat Me Again, One More Day, Halfway to Hell is out there across all the digital platforms. So, brother, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and I'm gonna sit back and love listening to you, no doubt.
Here we go. Beat Me Again. When I was a boy, you made me your slave. I dreamt about pissing all over your grave. Left that cemetery feeling the same. For years I carried round all the blame. For years I carried round all the blame. I never feared you, I stood there and brave. Your angry fist flew branded and brave. Bruises all faded, but the scars they remain. I plunged those memories in my veins. I plunged those memories in my veins. Yet today it ends. Today I'm in. Today's the day I forgive you of all of your sins. Those hateful memories gonna come to an end. No, you're never gonna beat me again. No, you're never gonna beat me again. Back in the stone garden, hat in my hand. I left as a boy, but returned as a man. Been a hard road I had to endure, but I'm standing here with my sober heart pure. I'm standing here with my sober heart pure. Yeah, today it ends. Today I'm in. Today's the day I forgive you of all of your sin. Those hateful memories gonna come to an end, and you're never gonna beat me again. Yeah, you're never gonna beat me again. No, you're never gonna beat me again.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-hosts Kirsty Krause, Jeff McMahon, and Karen Lee Batten as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back here with Jack Williams on the Backstage Pass, presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, Hank Jr. Productions, a great company out of Florida documenting life's memories through podcasting, videography, and photography. And, of course, our good friends over at MitchMax.com. If you want to pick up some of that Backstage Pass merchandise for the holidays, we are doing 20% off there at MITCHMAX.com. Back here with the show favorite, Jack Williams, listening to him tell a story for Beat Me Again, which the video's out there. Take a look at, and of course, the YouTube link. And check him out. Halfway to Hell is out now across all the digital platforms. A lot of great songs on there, too, as well. And I want to ask you about this, too, because you got a chance to work with another great guy in the industry, Adam Box, and you guys did a lot of great things with What a Wonderful World. Tell me about this project, because I know this had to be also kind of near and dear to your heart as well to put this out to your fans.
The Wonderful World Project?
Yes, correct.
Oh, that was a great one, because Adam thought we should do Wonderful World, and it was right then, right at that point when the world was really upside down. Right before the election, and we just did this thing with Wonderful World where we had fire and we had candles and we got clips where there was a baby being held and there was riots, and we just did this whole thing, and we did our own version of Wonderful World, and we wanted it to start off with, well, is it? Well, yeah. Is it really? Mm-hmm. And then at the end it was, yes, it is. And it is a wonderful world. And when you get to it, and so that's what the video had a lot to do with that. It was Adam, he produced the record and he directed the video, and the video was awesome. He's a great talent in himself. I mean, he's the drummer for Brothers Osborne and been the drummer for them since the beginning, and he's just nothing but talent, coming out of that guy. I love working with him. He brings something. He's 20 years, 30 years younger than me, and he brings out stuff out of me that I didn't even know was there.
I love the story you tell to Ronnie Van Zant. Suggested you came to Florida. You told us last time, and be a part of that Southern rock scene. Anybody knows Ronnie Van Zant knows the illustrious career he had there, of course, in music, and left the imprint on music too. Just what was that like when you're getting asked by such a legend to come there to that Florida area, and of course be a part of that Southern rock scene? You probably remember that like it was yesterday, right?
Oh, I never forget that. Yeah, I mean, I remember sitting in a hotel room in England, in Kensington, the Kensington Hotel in England. This was the night before they were doing Nebworth, and they were opening up for the Rolling Stones at Nebworth, and he gave me a piece of advice. He said, one day, he said, you're going to find yourself at the plate. And when you find yourself at the plate, knock it out of the park. And then the next night, they opened up, the next day, they opened up for the Rolling Stones. There was 200,000. There was over 200,000 kids. This is in England, and they were all waving Confederate flags. And they made it really hard for the Rolling Stones. I mean, it's history today. They made it hard for the Rolling Stones to come on that stage after them. They tore it up pretty, and it was great to move to Jacksonville. I mean, became good friends with Gary Rosington and Alan Collins and all those guys. And I guess that's why I got Gary. I was lucky enough to get Gary to play on my record, and we just talked today, actually. And he's going to be in the video, and it's going to be really cool. I mean, that's a piece of rock history that I get to have on my record and in the video.
Awesome news, no doubt. Hey, tell me about this relationship you've had with Ken Hensley too, because I love listening to those rockers too. I know he's the primary songwriter for UK, the metal rockers there, Uriah Heep, and you told that story about him inviting you to move to London, and as kind of an in-house songwriter. people may have not heard of or have heard of, I guess you're right, but that's some of the great musicians. And Ken Hensley's right up there as a keyboardist and a great songwriter for that band, right?
Yeah, he was the chief songwriter of the band. But working with, when I got that, I had given him a cassette tape when they were playing here, and they invited me to come over there and work with them over in England. And where he lived in England was was where all the rock stars lived. I mean, right across the street, kind of like down the corner, was where George Harrison lived, and over there was where Alvin Lee lived, and over there was where Rod Stewart lived, and over there was where a couple guys from Bad Company lived. And it was like being for me, out a 22-year-old guy that was still a greenhorn. This was pretty awesome. I mean, I just worked with the Who, so I had got a taste of it. But to be with them guys in their backyard, so to speak, when they weren't being rock stars, but they were just being everyday musicians, and we played croquet at night after we recorded and drank tea. It was fun.
I love that. Croquet and tea is kind of the British tradition there too, especially.
I swear it was. It was like playing horseshoes. I mean, it was just something to do in the evening after they recorded a record. It was like so different, so foreign from what I'd been around.
Rock stars out there during the daytime and at night, just regular people.
And eat oysters,
I love that too. We're gonna get to food here in a little bit because everybody knows you love food. And of course, you open a lot of the restaurants in different states out there, and of course, doing a lot of the kitchen for the vessels out there, of course, and all over the place too, military time. But I do want to talk about that because there's some new traditional dishes that I want to try for the holiday, or at least I know my family's going to try to cook out there and kind of get into some recipes and pick your brain. Right now, let's play another one. It's Jack Williams here on the Backstage Pass, presented by Bangtail Whiskey and Hank Jr. Productions and MitchMax.com. Jack, it's all yours. I know we're going to hear One More Day.
This is a song that this is a song Kevin Costner and I wrote that I wanted to write and ask God to give me one more day. I said I was just talking to God, and I said, what about giving me just one more day? And this is what we came up with. Watching the road rolling under my wheel. On and on it goes, takes me wherever it feels. Been on this trail so long, guess I'm here for good. Couldn't jump off of it now, wouldn't want to if I could. I guess you could say I'm here until I open my path, leads me to heaven's door. When I get up there and see him at the end, gonna ask a favor of a long lost friend. Look away and let me stay just one more day. And one of those rides had my share of ups and downs, but I wouldn't run and hide if I had to go back around. I guess you could say I'm here until I get up. That path leads me to heaven's door. When I get up there and then see him at the end, hope he'll let me say a friend to look away and let me stay just one more day. Yeah, I'm doing all right, living my life, doing what I want to do. Just trying to be the best I can and to myself be true. I guess you could say I'm here Bill, I ain't hoping I'll get to the heaven's door in the night. When I get to the end and I meet the man, I'll be sure to asking him to stay one more day. Oh, to stay one more day.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-hosts Kirsty Krause, Jeff McMahon, and Karen Lee Batten as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. Yeah, of course, we're going to do that again tomorrow. Dallas Remington is going to stop by. Then on Friday, Aaron Grant, Nashville recording artist. And, of course, next week, some more great shows, including American Idol Sweetheart and America's Got Talent. You know her, you love her, and she's doing big things out there. Michaela Phillips is going to drop by. And then we close up shop on December 17th when we get out of here for the Christmas holidays. The great David Nail coming by the program here. Of course, David Nail been in music now for a long, long time. And get a chance to talk to him and catch up with his latest EP out there across all the digital platforms. Back here with Jack Williams on the Backstage Pass, presented by our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions, Bangtail Whiskey, and, of course, our good friends at MitchMax.com. Love that song. Love what you guys did on there for one more day. So congratulations on getting that out to all the fans out there for music. And, you know, I got to ask you this. You've done this for so long. We've talked about that and made that very imperative here on the program. I guess, you know, when you look through this and having traveled and put a lot of miles that you have in this music career, what's kind of been the best piece of advice that you were given, Jack, kind of by another musician? What was kind of the best piece of advice that you were given that you might kind of convey to younger artists out there that you were given early in your career?
Persistence and just don't ever stop believing in yourself, I think is probably the most thing. I think if I'd ever quit, I wouldn't have known. I think I was just keep believing it. All those guys that made it, I would ask them the same question, and they would always say endurance and persistence. You know, just you've got to stay in it. You can't ever stop. If you stop, that's when you quit. And so you can't. You're never gonna. If you stay in it, something's bound to happen. Something is bound to happen. I mean, it may not be exactly what you thought it might be, but it's something I never thought I would be. I never thought that this was never part of the plan when I started out, and now it seems to be. So, as long as you keep doing what you love, I think you're. That's a great thing to do. You know, don't stop believing.
Good piece of advice, no doubt. And I kind of sometimes I'll take that advice and I'll have to find myself thinking a little bit too at the same time, and I'll heed my own advice and say the same thing with the podcast here. I'm like, don't quit, just keep going. Somebody's going to find you. Just keep plugging away, and when you stop and just don't do it anymore, then just don't ever give up. And that's I commend those words, and that needs to go out to a lot of people. Need to hear that, you know. So
well, I think that's yeah. I think if you stop, I quit, then then you're done. If you don't quit, then
that's true. I got to ask you about this because anybody knows you love food and the culinary side of things, which is good out there. What was on the Thanksgiving menu? What did you guys have? Where did Thanksgiving take place? And was it kind of turkey and pretty much dressing and cranberry sauce and all that stuff?
Everything the same. Yeah, I love cooking those kind of dinners. I love that traditional food. I mean, I put my own touch on it, but I love it. I think my favorite thing today, because I like making this thing, I like making sausage dressing. And that's always my favorite thing to make at the holidays is if I go to somebody else's house, I'll bring sausage dressing because that's the thing I love the most. I can't eat a lot of it, but it's good.
I love that too.
You cooking for your family this year?
We my wife did most of it too. She's the better cook. I'll say that. I can do a pretty good chili and a pretty good spaghetti, but she actually made two good casseroles. One was a green bean casserole that she made for Thanksgiving, and the second thing was the sweet potato casserole. And she did a great job with it. Sweet potato is my favorite. You can put it with a number of things out there. And then we each kind of brought the dishes and met up at my aunt's and kind of did each little serving, turkey dressing. Somebody took care of that. Somebody did mac and cheese and mashed potatoes, and everybody kind of brought their desserts and made pies. So it was, we ate too much, and I think we're still trying to sleep off and feel the effects of it because I made my New Year's resolution already, and I'm getting back to the fitness side of things. I want to shed probably 15, 20 pounds, get that off. So the New Year's resolution is to get more exercise, and going into 22, I'm going to do that, no doubt, which is a big thing there. A lot of people have you made any New Year beside the album here, Halfway to Hell, any other New Year's resolutions that you've kind of made for yourself going into the new year?
I'd like to do some live dates. Okay. I'd like to do a bunch of live dates. That's what I want to do next. I mean, I really do. I think that's where this year I want to do. I want to find a way to make that happen. That's what I really want to do. I thought that for a while there, I thought maybe what I wanted to really do was score music for a film, but I think that I've changed my direction on that. I like writing. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to stop. I've written 2 really great songs this week that I'm really happy with, and everybody that's around me is, and I'm not going to stop doing that. But what I am going to stop, I think I want to do some live dates really bad. That's my New Year's. And so I'm going to go after that really hard. And usually when I go after something, I get it. Might take a minute, but I'll get it. If I put my mind to it. And that's what I'm going to put my mind to, is figuring out a way to do that.
I like that. Get more live dates out there and get your music out to more and more fans and make new fans out there too at the same time. You've had success in so many different genres of music, but I wanted to ask you too as well, the rock, country, blues, is there kind of a genre that you enjoy working in the most, or is it just kind of a blend of everything?
Blend of everything, I think. Yeah, because I mean, the album is kind of rock-ish. I think the album is rockish, but then I'm starting to do some stuff now. What I'm writing now is kind of like, just a lot of air, guitar, vocal, fiddle, just a lot of, I wouldn't say folk. I don't like that word folk, but it's not that, but it's indie, stripped down rock. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Because if you take all these songs on the record and you took everything off of it, my voice and acoustic guitar and some of the other stuff, they would be good too. I would love that. I mean, I love that Tom Waits stuff and the Leonard Cohen, and that's where Johnny Cash. I mean, that's what I really like doing. I like that kind of thing too, and that's where I'm probably heading off to now in the new stuff that I'm writing is to get away. I want to be able to do stuff. I want to be able to do stuff that I can play live and not have to worry about having a band around me.
I love the fact that you've also not just a standard writing for albums, but you've also done some things, movie soundtracks, Yellowstone, of course, the movie Miracles from Heaven. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on, because I talked to a lot of artists here on the program about standard album writing, but when you start doing it for movie soundtracks, is there really a difference in the style of the way you write and record for those two things?
Well, yeah, you can do whatever you want for like when you sit down, like right now, I mean, everything that I'm writing, there's no rules. I'm going as deep inside of me as I can go. And writing the most honest truth I can write. And I think that's the thing about TV and film. I think that's what they want more than anything is honesty. And so, I mean, the people that write those kind of honest songs like that, that's the people that are getting the songs in the films and TV. I think it's just has to do with honesty.
Now, of all the great people you've worked with out there, you mentioned Kevin Costner and, of course, a lot of great musicians, Nashville and pretty much around the world. Is there that one or two maybe 3 artists that musically you would say, you know what, these are dream collaborations. I would like to work with these people. I have not yet. Who would they be?
That I haven't yet?
That you haven't yet worked with or collaborated in music?
Well, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them that I haven't yet. I'd like to write a song with Ryan Bingham.
Okay.
I'd like to write a song with Lucas Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd probably like to write a song with Kevin Bacon.
There you go. I like that. That's a good name out there too. And great actor, and he's done everything. Musician, and he's across the board. Just a smorgasbord of everything, dude. No doubt about it. Hey, I tell you what. I'm in a good mood. It's Hump Day Wednesday. We're almost to the weekend. Not to put you on the spot, but what do we say? Let's do a bonus one. Let's have you play one more. What do you say?
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
I love the music so much. Hey, it's my show. I can do what I want to do, right? There you go.
I guess you can, right? So let me see here. What could I do? Oops. You want it off the record or just anything?
Anything. Pick whatever, man. Again, the record's halfway to hell across all the digital platforms.
Well, if I could do anything, I'll do something. I'll do something that I just wrote this song. I don't know. Hang on one second.
Sure.
I'll see. I would like to do something. I know what I'm going to do. I'll do one of my favorite songs I've ever written. This is my favorite song. This is a song I play every time I play out. This is probably my top 2 favorite songs I've ever written.
Here we go.
So. I'd just be drifting like smoke on breeze, twisting and turning like dead autumn leaves. I'd lose all sense of control, I believe, without you. I'd be like a guitar that nobody plays, an old song that no one remembers these days, just a forgotten one, falling from grace without you. Oh, without you, baby, I'd be a stone on the side of the road, laying alone, choked by the weeds, chilled to the bone without you. Oh, I gotta tell you, girl, I wouldn't be anything close to the man that you see, and it breaks my heart. Think about me without you. Oh, I'd be a room that's empty and dark, where somebody died from a wound to the heart, leaving a ghost who can't go too far without you. I'd be a highway that goes on and on, groping through midnight and grasping for dawn, constantly searching but never finds home without you. Oh, without you, baby, I'd be a stone on the side of the road, laying alone, choked by the weeds, chilled to the bone without you. And I gotta tell you, girl, I wouldn't be anything close to the man that you see, and it breaks my heart to think about me without you. Yeah, I gotta tell you, girl, I wouldn't be anything close to the man that you see, and it breaks my heart. Think about me without you. Oh, without you. Oh, without you. Oh.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Good finish there. I think I'm gonna have me a glass of that tonight, which is good for the whiskey in the throat. Got a little sore throat going on here too as well, and it's that time of the. That's the thing about Texas weather, man. And I've talked to you about this before. You can wake up and it's like 40 degrees in the morning, 45, and then by noon you're at 80. So it's like two different temperatures.
What is it right now in Texas?
Let's see what I've got right here on the little gauge here. We're at 73 right now, and here in Texas. So it started out the morning was like 42, 43. So it's
I
like
think it's supposed to get 70 here tomorrow. So that's I don't know. It's weird.
It's just weird times when it comes to the weather down here in Texas. It's very much inconsistent when it comes down to it too. Especially we never really have a winter. We just have a bunch of seasons kind of thrown together. It's like wadding up paper and throwing it in the trash can. You can just hit as many shots as you can too as well, and you're never going to pull one out and go, "Hey, stay winner." It's not going to happen that way. But again, love the song, love the music. Halfway to Hell is out there across all the digital platforms, and hjackwilliamsmusic.com for the website out there too to check out all the good stuff. And hopefully those live dates do get back on, because I'd definitely love to come see you, my friend, if we're ever up there in Tennessee. And our plan is to be there for the country radio seminar February 23rd to 25th.
Are you coming for that?
I'm coming. I'm going to be there at the Omni Hotel.
Oh, cool.
So
You need to let me know when you're here then.
I'll have to. Let's go. Take me out to a good restaurant.
I will. Oh, yeah, we will.
Good there.
Yeah. I want to know when you're here. You make sure you let me know.
I sure will. I'll tell
We
Ms.
will have
Bev
some fun.
Let's have some fun, my friend. Let's do that.
Have
I'll
you
be
come
setting
out
up
to the farm here.
It'd be great, and it cooked me a meal to it. I'll have to do that with you, because we'll be setting up at the Omni. But hey, I'll have to get me an Uber out there and just eat one of your good culinary meals.
Oh yeah, well, either that or I'll just come get you, one of the two.
That'll work too, no doubt. Hey, let me ask you about this. I'll jump into rapid fire. Let's do a couple of these as we wrap up the show. One that I kind of thought of that I thought was kind of a cool thing just to put out there. We mentioned you've traveled the world, you've done everything. Like I said, Marine Corps, and of course, musician, and a little bit of everything. But hey, if you got a call tomorrow, and somebody was on the other end of the line and it says, you can be a contestant on any game show out there, what game show would you go on?
Game show.
Wheel of Fortune, Family Feud, Press Your Luck.
Oh, yeah. Family Feud.
All right. I like that one. For me, it'd be that Press Your Luck. I like the little whammy thing. I used to watch in the 80s, and then, of course, the early 90s.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Banks and, of course, the cast at ABC, they brought it back.
I always like Family Feud because they never could get their acts together in their own families. You know what I mean?
That's part of because they got to get to know them before they throw them on TV to act this to have the feud. There you go, which is out there too. For me, it'd be Press Your Luck. All right, I guess let's say this: of all the great experience you've had, and I like to build on this too, and you're saying to yourself, I'm setting up one of my children for their dream car. I can buy them anything they want out there. You guys go to a dealership. You don't care what it costs. You got the money to throw out there to write a check today. What would you buy your children for a car? And then what would you buy as your dream car for Jack Williams if money wasn't a factor?
If money wasn't a factor?
Money wasn't a factor.
Well,
you just write a check and throw it out there.
I would buy him a I'd buy us both a Jeep.
Nothing wrong with that. I know for me, it'd be a Hummer. I just write it, cash it in, and
yeah,
be done with it. Gas guzzler. But
that's the part. You'd have to have like one time I told somebody that I said, if I ever make it big, I want to buy myself a cigarette boat. And they said, well, you better make twice as much money to buy the gas that's going to go inside the thing.
I got a truck now. It's always a guzzler and that kind of thing. It's paid off. That's a good, any car note that's paid off is a good car note out there. All right. Any good books you've picked up lately? Any good reading you've done, whether it be online reading or just physical copy? Any good reading?
I'm in the middle of a book right now, David Balducci book called Mercy. And it's really good. But I read a lot of David Baldacci. You know, he wrote the Bosch series, and he's one of my favorite authors. And this book is really good. So that's what I've been reading. That's what I'm in the middle of right now.
Okay. I love this one, and I'll build on it from the movie side of things. You're very familiar with movie soundtracks. We've made that clear here with a couple of things you've done with Kevin Costner and Yellowstone. When it comes down to movies, if there's a classic one of all time that you're like, man, this is on, I've seen it a million times, but I'm going to watch it again. It could be anything out there. What's your kind of top 2 or 3 favorite movies of all time?
Wind River is probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and I watched it over and over again. I've seen it probably 40 times. Wind River and The Siege. Steven Seagal's The Siege when they take over that ship, and he's a cook on the ship. I've probably seen that a million times. And then for an old movie, I'd probably say it's an old John Wayne movie that you know what? I really like Man on Fire, Denzel Washington. That's probably one. I probably watched that once a month. But I'm a Denzel Washington fan, so I mean that's one of my long dreams is to meet that man. I mean, I love everybody. There isn't nothing he doesn't do that I don't love.
That's a good thing for me. I'd say 2 of my favorite actors that stand out there right now that I can think of that I've seen lately with some of their stuff coming on. Liam Neeson, would love to shake his hand one day. And then, of course, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn is a funny guy and could be any role he takes on in any kind of movie. And I watched myself follow the holiday movies of 4 Christmases and Fred Claus the other night, watching those 2 on the Disney. All the stuff out there was funny. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten into some classics lately. The 2 that come to mind, of course, Al Pacino and Scarface. Can't go wrong with that. And then both the Godfathers, Godfather 1 and Part 2.
You know what? Yesterday, it was, speaking of Godfather, yesterday, I took yesterday off, and I watched the final Godfather, the new one, that last one, that Dakota, the death of Corleone or whatever it is, the remake of it. Well, I watched that yesterday. I mean, that was 3.5 hours of just pure movie magic.
I love it, man. It's always good chatting with you, no doubt. Movies or food or anything out there too as well, brother. Well, I tell you what, again, the album is Halfway to Hell across all the digital platforms, and the music videos out there on the YouTube channel for a number of things to check out. And of course, HJackWilliamsmusic.com is the website out there for all the good stuff. Jack, always a pleasure, my friend, to get to visit here on the show. You're a regular. Come back anytime, and best of luck with the album. Happy holidays, and good luck going into the new year, my friend. Thanks always for the visit.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. I want to come back anytime you'll have me.
You got it. Tomorrow, good friend Dallas Remington stops by, and then on Friday, Aaron Grant coming on the program, and of course, next week, Michaela Phillips from American Idol, and of course, America's Got Talent, and a whole host of other shows coming up next week. And we finish on December 17th with the great David Nail here on the program. Looking forward to catching up with David and talking about his latest EP. Thanks to the sponsors, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on the Backstage Pass with Dallas Remington. Until then, thanks to Bangtail Whiskey and Hank Jr. Productions, and of course, MitchMax.com. We'll talk to you soon. Till then, take care.